Hey, it's Irreverent Aegis here, and in this video I'm going to walk you through how to get the No Bone Left Unbroken achievement in Veteran Fang Lair. That's the hard mode, the speedrun, and the no death all at the same time. Now I'll go over the general idea for our strategy for this achievement, but before that, since we're already at the first boss, I just want to point out a couple things to help you with survivability. First, cast a barrier in the beginning. Sometimes this boss is really annoying because everything will come out and target one person before the tank can pick them all up. And when that happens, it's a death, and then you have to kick people from the dungeon and reset it, and it's very annoying. So that early barrier is very helpful in order to avoid an unnecessary death. After that, as the tank, if you can crowd control in the beginning and then just chain everything in, the Necro Tank is perfect for this because the Agony Totem will just keep fearing things as they get in, so it makes it a lot easier to grab aggro and to chain everything in when you don't need to worry about consistently applying the crowd control. The last phase here, just make sure you pick up both of the Bone Colossuses, as those are the big hitters that can prevent the no death achievement. Now that that's over with, let me talk about our main strategy for the entire dungeon. We're using a 3 DPS high burn strategy. I'm running the Atomic Aegis build, which means I'm using Sax Eels, War Machine, and Necrotis for my gear, and all our DPS are wearing Valor's Monster Helm. One of our DPS is also a Mag DK, applying Engulfing Flames and wearing Catalyst. The other two are a Mag Blade and a Mag Plar. Our goal for this achievement was to execute Thorvokun before he could do the Gold Circle mechanic, which means that we had to dodge at least one Ghost Wall and deal 3 million damage in about 15 seconds. But before we get to that, let me guide you through the rest of the dungeon. Now, if you're looking for a video that thoroughly goes over boss mechanics, then this video isn't for you. However, if you have a dedicated 4-man group filled with a bunch of toxic, sweaty, endgame snobs like us, then you found the right guide. Bonus points if one of your group members is an Australian woman with a really attractive voice. The second boss here can give groups a little bit of trouble on the no death. The reason why is that there's a lot of mechanics going on. First, you have to dodge the wolves that run in and blow up. The second is that you have that tiger, which pounces on people and you need to interrupt it before it instant kills somebody. And then third, you have the guar that spits out a bunch of poison, which is especially dangerous if the tiger pounces on somebody. Of course, we're running a nuclear build, which means that, of course, we're going to skip all of these mechanics entirely, and we're just going to burn the boss. So we get everything lined up, we coordinate all of our ultimates together, and you'll watch that that tiger just dies very quickly in the cleave. We don't even need to target it, and all we're going to need to do pretty much is dodge a couple of wolves and make sure we don't stand in poison, and before you know it, the tiger's going to be dead, and the bear is going to die shortly thereafter. So again, you can avoid most of the mechanics there by just doing that. A quick note on ad pulls, typically you want to kill the revivifiers first as they enrage everything and those bone flayers can come in with their AoEs and kill your group if you don't kill the revivifiers first. Or you can just skip killing the revivifiers and kill everything because most of the time that works too. The third boss, Calorian, also tends to give people a little bit of trouble on the no death component. You'll see me putting on a blood altar here for my group. There is a little bit of danger during this fight with a lot of AoEs going around, so a single blood altar typically is enough to get us through it. Now, I'm pretty sure that Calorian takes longer to spawn in than it actually takes for us to execute him, so you'll see how the nuclear strategy works really well here. Before he spawns in, everyone drops their dots. I put out that blood altar, and then we're going to wait for 80%. And then right when it hits 80%, we're going to all drop our ultimates, and then after that, you'll see how quickly Calorian dies. For a little extra burn, watch what I do here as the tank. I'm on my front bar, and I make sure to apply Necrotis. Then I switch to my back bar, lay down my wall of elements, and make sure that I have Brittle active as much of the time as possible. That's going to really help maximize your burn here. The next boss here is Ulfnor, and you'll see once again that I'm putting on a blood altar just as an O-crap heal for the group. Sometimes people take a little too much flame damage because they get careless, so that blood altar is really helpful. Now Ulfnor, of course, is another one of those bosses that just takes way too long to spawn in, but that does give us time to drop our dots before he comes out. Now, at certain percentages of his health, he is going to apply a ghost chain onto people, and you do need to make sure that you kill that ghost before they instantly die. One nice thing, of course, about the Atomic Aegis strategy is that you can minimize the amount of mechanics that you have to do. So that chain right there was really the only one we had to worry about. There is going to be another one, but we can just commit if we want to. So one of our DPS actually broke off when he didn't have to, and the other one stayed and finished off the execute here. So again, with the Atomic Aegis strategy, you're pretty much only going to need to deal with one of those ghost chains. For these last trash pulls, the priority targets, of course, are the giant glowing bone colossus, the crystal, which can summon extra adds, including bone colossuses, and the revivifiers. The final pull with the final crystal is often a no-death killer, so it's very important that somebody just pops a barrier before running in. My barrier, of course, is extra cool because it's super barrier, because I give Major Slayer and Major Force when I hit it, and you'll see those guys just melt it around the crystal on that final ad pull. So now we're going on to the final boss. Let me speak briefly about my bar setup for this fight. I'm a tank without a healer, and I'm off by myself for most of the fight, so I'm going to put on Mortal Coil for extra stamina sustain. I'm also going to slot Blood Altar in place of Necrotic Potency. Like the other fights, that's for my group since they don't have a healer either. You'll also notice that my front bar ultimate is Temporal Guard. That gives me minor protection whenever I'm on my front bar. Reducing my damage taken is nice because the green scarabs apply a mean fracture when they touch you. I also make sure that I have Agony Totem. Whenever I have the Growing Circle AoE under my feet, I drop an Agony Totem and then roll dodge out of the way. That pretty much guarantees the scarabs get feared upon their arrival, giving me more time to maneuver, and more importantly, more time to heavy attack to restore resources. While I'm switching up my bar, our Mag DK is slotted Crushing Shock, so he can get those range interrupts when Orin does his AoE attack. As far as the first phase of this fight goes, we take it slow. One of our group members is designated as the person who calls out when to stop attacking Thorvokun. That's at 85%, 75%, 65%, and 55%. The reason is that we don't want to push phases. Having two crystals up at the same time is a really bad idea when trying to get the no-death component of this Trifecta. As the tank, you'll see that I try to hold Thorvokun far away from any active crystal. This allows me to scope out the room and see when and where Orin jumps down to do his AoE. If he jumps down near me and far away from the interrupter, I get the bash. If he isn't near me, that means he is in range of Crushing Shock, and our interrupter can get it easily. As for the DPS, the most important thing they need to do, other than not overburn the boss, is to roll dodge the heavy attacks from the Bone Goliaths. The timing is simple once they get used to it. When its arm goes over its head, that's when you roll dodge. Another benefit to holding Thorvokun away from the crystal is that he drops those poison AoEs on the ground. This keeps the poison AoEs away from your group so they don't inadvertently step back into one or roll dodge back into one. For the next 30 seconds or so, we're going to push the boss to 55% and kill the last crystal. After the next crystal is destroyed, we push the boss to 45%, and that's when we get the Ghost Walls phase. Really, the only important thing on the Ghost Walls phase is for me to hold the boss away from where Yazara goes and puts down the shield. That way we don't get a poison spawn while we're waiting behind the shield. Communication is very important for this phase as well, as someone in your group is bound to miss where the shield is going. So the first person that sees whether to go to the left side, the center, or the right side should just call out shield left, shield right, or shield center. Now the moment we've all been waiting for is about to arrive. We're going to push the last 15% of the boss. We're going to lay down our dots, and then we're going to drop all our ultimates. We got a really nice pull here with the RNG. We got a center shield, and Thorvokun, I was able to move him right to the middle here, in the middle of the ghost wall. So now we're laying down all our dots. We're in the center, so we can spin our cameras around and find the ghost wall really quick. And as soon as he gets his health all the way up, we drop the house on him. Of course, I make sure I have Encrades applied, switch to my back bar, and I try to keep up that brittle buff as well. And you'll see the boss just melts, and there he's dead in about 14.5 seconds before we had to worry about the gold circle mechanic. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button or leave a comment. And of course, for more content like this, feel free to hit the subscribe button.